Okay, good afternoon class. So in this lesson we will do parts of paper 1. I'm not sure that we will be able to get through paper 2, the whole of paper 1, sorry, in this lesson. Okay, so we will get as far as we possibly can. So, sorry? I didn't get the papers back yet, so at this point we can't file it. But you guys have seen your papers? No? I gave it to you yesterday, didn't I? Yes. Yes, so why is it no? Whose fault is that? Mine? How is it my fault? Huh? Alright, so yesterday I sent you the question paper as well as the memo to the question paper. But we're going to do the run through the paper quickly for this time that we have in this lesson, so that you can see exactly where we went wrong and so on. Okay, so we're looking at paper 1, the June test 1, or paper 1 as normally under normal circumstances, out of 100 marks for 2 hours you guys wrote for. Okay, so in 1.1 the question says, solve for x correct to 2 decimal places. If you see that in question 1, we know that that is your formula question. Okay, we substitute the quadratic formula, so x is equal to minus b plus minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2. You don't have to write that down. Okay, so you got negative minus 1 plus minus the square root of negative 1 squared minus 4. A is 5, C is negative 3 over 2, A is 5. So it's one of two values. Remember the question says to 2 decimal places. So if you're not going to round off properly to 2 decimal places in this question, you're going to lose your mark on this question. Okay. So it's going to be negative, open brackets, negative 1 plus the square root of negative 1 squared minus 4 times A times C over 2 times 5, which gives you 0,88, or that's a negative 0,6. Okay. So the question was for 2 decimal places. Okay. Yeah, just put the money down there. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
There you go. Turin. Yeah. Why do you need a Turin change? Nice seeing you guys, you made it. Okay. Look at the next question. In question 1.2, as you can see, this is already factorized. Not so. So your critical values here, we can't say x is equal to minus 10, x is equal to 1. You're going to lose a mark. So you got your critical values, or your zero values is negative 3 and 1. We take it to our graph, it's negative 3 and 1. Y is equal to 0. If it's more than, it's above the line. If it's less than, below the line. As you can see, it's less than and equal to, so it's below the line, it's continuous solution. So x is greater than negative 3 but less than 1. There's an equal sign there, so it can be equal as well. The next question in 1.3, the first step is to isolate the root. We take an x 4 over, so it's the square root of x minus 2. We square both sides to get rid of the square root. So you got x minus 2 is equal to x squared minus 8x plus 16. If you don't know how to do that, no problem. Write out twice and you multiply the story out. So you get 0 is equal to x squared minus 9x plus 18. Which now gives us x and x, 3 and 6, both negative. So x is equal to 3 or x is equal to 6. Now of course you must test if it works. So I put 3 into wherever I see x on the right hand side, so it's 3 minus 2 is 1, the square root of 1 is 1, 1 plus 4 is 5, so 3 doesn't work. Yeah, we put 6 in, 6 on that side, on the right hand side we've got 6 minus 2 which is 4, square root of 4 is 2, and 2 plus 4 is 6, so that one works. Okay, you always test and check which one works. Okay. Again, if you don't know when to say which works and which doesn't, and not equal to, and all of those, just rather leave it like that. You'd rather lose them off, because that's more often the case where that it is a solution where it's not. Okay, we go through the paper. It's just here and there, maybe two places where you will draw the not equal sign. Okay. Sometimes it's just once in that question, and if that question doesn't come in, sometimes it's never not equal. Okay. Into question 2.1, this is your sequence and series question. We are told that the third term, T3 of the geometric series is 7, and the sixth term is, so that is AR5. Where is that coming from? Tn is equal to ARn minus 1. Okay, so that is over T3, so that is AR squared. So T6 is negative 2401 over the third term, which is 7. So we can drop this. So in other words, the a's also drops. So it's r cubed is equal to negative. And then we say negative 2401 divided by 7. 2401. It's going to give you negative 343. The cube root thereof is going to give you negative 7. The cube root. Oops. Okay, we will the answer negative 7. So there's your R value. And the question was to determine the common ratio. I just did, and then the R value. Your first term, which is your A value. So we know that T3 is equal to AR squared, which is equal to 7. So R is negative 7. So it's 8 times negative 7 squared is equal to 7. This is 49, so I divide by 49 both sides. So A is equal to 1 over 7. Is that correct? Huh? You just please follow and just let me know if I made a mistake. Okay. In question 2.2, it says, without using calculator, determine the value of it. So, this is your sigma question. What does sigma stand for? Sum of. Not sum. So, in other words, the sum of starting at 3 to 10 terms, for a general term 1 over f minus 2 minus. Again, sigma. So, it's the sum of starting from 3 to 10 with a general term of 1 over f minus 1. So, if I write this out, we always tend to write the first 3 terms out when we have sigma anyway. So for the first part of the expression, we're going to say, so that will be, we're starting at 3, so it's 1 over 3 minus 2. Then we're going to 4. Then we go to 5. And so on. The last term is at 10, so it's 1 over 10 minus 2. The one prior to that is 1 over 9 minus 2, and so on. Okay. And that must be minus by, and of course a bracket. Why? Because it's going to be more than one term following a negative sign. The representation of that sigma is as follows. Starting at 3, so it's 1 over 3 minus 1. Plus 1 over 4 minus 1, plus 1 over 5 minus 1, and so on. But the last term at 10, so it's 1 over 10 minus 1 plus 1 over 9 minus 1 plus, and so on. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tidy this up a bit. So that's going to give you 1 over 1 plus 1 over 2 plus 1 over 3 plus the last term is going to be 1 over 8 plus 1 over 7 and so on. Minus, I'm going to multiply this negative out as well. Okay. Well, just leave it in the bracket, no problem. That's going to give you a half plus a third plus a quarter plus the last term being 1 over 9 plus 1 over 8 and so on. Okay. So what happens now is I just cancel where I can. So 1 can't cancel with anything, so that remains a half minus a half. Once I multiply that out, it cancels. The third minus the third, and everything between that will cancel to an extent. However, 1 over 9 doesn't cancel with anything on that side, so 1 over 9 will stand. 1 over 8 cancels 1 over 8. The one prior to that is 1 over 7, and so on. So what are we left with standing? We're left with 1 over 1, which is 1 minus 1 over 9. So the answer is 8 over 1. Okay. This was a nice question. It came in, I think it was 2020. Year 2020 or the year before that, 2019 November. This question came in. Okay. Okay, question 2.3. We have to consider the following arithmetic series. Okay. So we're considering the arithmetic series. Right. We got 5, 15 over 2, 10 plus, and so on. The question says, determine the number of terms in the series. So we know that this is the nth term of the series, not so. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work out the general term. So a plus n minus 1. How do I know that? Because I said arithmetic is the AS. Okay? The first term, of course, is 5 plus. How do we move from 1 to the next? We're adding 2.5. Not so, people. Or 5 over 2. Okay? So that's going to be n minus 1 times 2 over 5 over 2.5. Which gives me a general term of 2.5n plus 2.5. So that's my general term. But the general term is equal to 5 over 2. So in the suit of calculating n, I'm going to say 505 over 2 minus 2.5. Then I divide that by 2.5 to get n on its own is 100. So in other words, there's 100 terms in the sequence. Okay. Next question. We are asked to calculate the sum of the middle 30 terms of the series. Calculate the sum of the middle 30 terms of the series. Remember, there's 100 terms there. Right. So if you look at how many terms are here, of course there's 1 to 100 terms. Okay. The question says calculate the sum of the middle 30 terms. So halfway will be 50 and 51. Not so. There was two numbers in the middle. In the series, so it's a plus. Okay. So in other words, 15 in that direction and 15 in that direction. You all agree with that? No? 15 terms in either direction will give me a total of 30 terms. Not so. So 50 minus 15 is going to give you 35. Not so. Okay. So that's going to give you 35 plus 51 plus 15 is going to give you 66.
My apologies for the interruption. Octavia Isaacs in grade 8, can you please report to the office? Octavia Isaacs in grade 8, please report to the office.
But you see, if you're going to go with this, what's the name here? Then you're going to count 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49. So it's not 35, it's 36. It's actually 36 times. So it's T36, if I add 30 to it, it's going to give me 66, yeah. So it's from 36 to 66 will give you 30 terms. Can you see that, people? That is going to be your middle 30 terms. Okay. So in other words, I need to know what term 36 is from this sequence, which is my A value of this case. Calculate the sum of them here. It will be the A value of this scenario. Okay? And then I need to know what T66 is. Why 66? Because that is also your last term of the series. Okay? You just check. So it's 51, 52, 53, 54, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is 51, 52, 53, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64. It's actually 65. It's 36 to 65. If you count that on your fingers, you're going to get your 30 terms. Okay? So it's actually 65. Sorry about that. So using that formula, that's why I kept the formula here. So it's 2.5 times 36 plus 2.5. Okay, so that gives me 92.5. Do the same for term 65. Gives me 165. So remember, they want you to work out the sum of 30 terms. So I'm going to use that formula. Sn is equal to n over 2 into a plus r. Why? So I have my first term and I have my last term as well. Okay? So that would simply give us 30 over 2 into a, which is 92.5, plus 165. So it's 30 over 2 into 92.5 plus 165. That's going to give us 3862.5. 3862. 3862.5. Okay. This is a good question. Counting how many terms there are. You must watch out for this here. As you saw me made a mistake here as well. Okay. But I always make sure by counting it out on my fingers. As normally when we say 50 minus 50, it gives you 35. Okay? But if you count how many numbers are those, you'll see you actually 1 over. Okay. In question 2.4, a common asked question as well. We are told, given that negative 5 into 5x minus 2 plus 10 into 5x minus 2 all squared minus 20 into 5x minus 2 cubed plus. For which values of x will given series converge? The series will converge if and only if r is greater than negative 1 but less than 1, provided r is never equal to 0. So to work out r is going to be t2 over t1 or t3 over t2 or so. Okay. So that simplifies into, that cancels with one of those, so it's going to be 5x minus 2 and negative 2. Okay. So that is my r value. So in other words, going with that fact there, x can never be equal to 2 over 5. Okay, remember r can never be 0. And your r value is negative 2 into 5x minus 2. If that's never equal to 0, then that means to say that x can never be equal to 2 over 5. So what I do here is I divide throughout by negative 2. Remember that the inequality will swap around. So it will give you a half, 5x minus 2, and negative half. Okay. 2 goes both ways. So it's 5 over 2, 5x, and 3 over 2, I think it is, no? Divide by 5. I'm going to swap the inequalities again. That is going to now go on the other side, of course. Or you could have left it like that, doesn't matter. You won't be penalized, okay? This is the correct way, or the normal way that we write it. Is the other way around. So it will be a half, and that will be 3 over 10. Okay? Is that correct? There's again that point in our lives, you know? Nobody talks to each other and so on. The next question says, if x is equal to 9 over 20, determine the sum to infinity. So sum to infinity, let me just pull this down. Actually, up front. I'll take this out here. I need the sequence. So for the sum to infinity, it follows a formula a over 1 minus 1. Now my a value is negative 5 into 5 x minus 2 over 1 minus r. And my r value was negative 5 into 5x. Okay? Minus 2. So it's actually 2, not 5. Okay. And what's my x value? It's 9 over 20. 9 over 20. 9 over 20. So that's going to be negative 5 open brackets 5 times 9 over 20. 5 times 9 over 20 minus 2 over 1 minus open brackets 2 times, or actually 9 over 20 9 over 20 minus 2. Nope, that's not right, no? Without something wrong, the answer should be negative 5 over 6. So negative 5 into, that's correct. Oh, here's a bracket here. I'm messing my bracket up. Okay. Negative 2 is on the outside. So, sorry? 5. Negative 5 over 6. It's actually going to be safer for you to have substituted into the sequence first. There's negative 5 into 5 times 9 over 20 minus 2 plus 10 into 5 times 9 over 20 minus 2 squared minus 20 times 5 times 9 over 20 minus 2 cubed. Okay, I think I worked that out. JD, no I didn't. Okay, Okay, so we'll work that out. So it's negative 5 times, open brackets, 5 times 9 over 20 plus minus 2. Okay, that gives you negative 5 over 4. Okay, the next one. And squared, here we had 10. 5 over 8. And then the next one cubed, of course. And you got negative 20. Negative 5 over 16. So if we go with the sum to infinity here, is a, which is negative 5 over 4, over 1 minus r, which is negative r. Okay, so it's going to be negative 5 over 4 over 1 minus, open brackets, negative r. Negative 5 over 6. Which is safer, not so? You all agree with that? Because it will be safer to rather do the substitution than what I did there. I made a major mistake there. I would have lost probably both my marks. Okay? So don't be like me. You guys are much better, no? Yeah. Okay. People, in the next question. Question 3, we are told the figure below shows a pattern that is being formed as it progresses from figure 1 to figure 4, as it moves from figure 1 to figure 4. It says, give a reason why the given pattern forms a quadratic sequence. Why does something form a quadratic? Why does something form a quadratic sequence? As a second common difference. So the answer is as a second common difference. Okay. And in 3.2 it says, 3.2 it says, determine the formula for the nth term of this progression. Okay. So in the first term, how many circles we have here? 3. No, term 2, 7. Term 3, sorry, 15. Term 4, 27. All right. So to work out our general term, we needed those terms, yes, which we do have now. When we work out our first common difference. So it's 4, 8, 12. Is that correct? Then it's going to give us 4a. So what do I write on the side? 2a, 3a plus b. A plus b plus c. Bottom up. So 2a is equal to 4, so a is equal to 2. So 3 times 2 plus b is equal to 4. So b is going to be negative 2. Then we know that a plus b plus c is equal to 3. So c is 3. Therefore Tn is equal to 2n squared minus 2n plus 3. People, the sum is worth 4 marks. So it's worth testing. So let's check. So we say 2 times. We can test with term 4, term 3, so 3 squared. Don't go with term 1 times 3 plus 3. Why? Because why? This formula is derived using the first term. So even though the sequence is incorrect, or your general term is incorrect, it will still show as if it's correct. Okay, why? Because as I said, we actually use that to calculate your C value. And 15 is the third term of the pattern, therefore this is correct. Okay. Let's carry on with our lives. So I think we will read this here. Then we have said, if figure 3 is made up of 15 circular discs, determine which figure in the sequence will have 4,707 circular discs. So in other words, if that pattern continues, which pattern figure number will have that? 4,707 discs. So this is the nth term. So 4707 is equal to 2n squared minus 2n plus 3. So 0 is equal to 2n squared minus 2n So it's going to be 3 minus 4707. 4707. That gives us negative 4704. Negative 4704. So n works out to be one of two values. Remember, n must be a natural number. No? So we go. That, again, use quadratic formula here. And I'm sure at this point you guys won't go and try and find factors there. So it gives you 49 or negative 48. Of course, it can't be that one. Therefore, there's going to be term 49. 49 is equal to 4707. Or figure 49 will have 4,707 circulators used to construct that figure. People, question 4. In question 4, we are given f of x equals the desired hyperbola function. They want to know what the f of 0 is. So f of 0, wherever you say x, you put a 0. So it's going to be 2 plus, so it's going to be 5. Determine the value of x for which f of x is equal to 0. So negative 4 over x minus 2 is plus 3 is equal to 0. They get over the equal sign, becomes x minus 2 is equal to 3. Cross multiply, so 4 over 3 is equal to x minus 2. So x is equal to 6 is going to be 10 over 3. Okay. So that is your x and your y intercepting. The question then says, sketch the graph. Okay. So what's the first thing we draw in? Is our asymptotes normally. Not so. So what's the equation of the asymptote? Y is equal to 3 and x is equal to 2. Okay, and then he's going to cut your x at 10 over 3, which is 3 and a third, which is approximately here. 3 and a third with 10 over 3. And he's going to cut your y-axis at 5, no? Is that 5? Right. And that gets you 3 marks. Okay. Next question. Determine the equation of the axial symmetry. People, many of you missed this question up. I don't understand why. Determine the equation of the axial symmetry in the form y is equal to mx plus c, where m is less than 0, which means to say m is negative. There are two axial symmetry here. The one going through like that, and the other one going through like that. This one is y is equal to x plus c, and this is y is equal to minus x plus c. The one they're referring to there, with the negative gradient, is that one. Okay. So my equation reads, y is equal to minus x plus c. To calculate c, I must substitute that point in where the asymptotes intersect, which is 2 and 3. So you substitute 2 and 3, there's the x and the y. So c, 3 is equal to negative 2 plus c. Take 2 over, becomes 5. My equation is y is equal to minus x plus. Okay, so in actual fact, that is going through that point. Okay, but as we know, the diagram is not drawn to scale there. Then the question says, I'm taking this out here, that you can keep the diagram in focus. Let's take this out here. In question 4.1.5, it says determine if of x plus p. So what's the equation of f of x? Plus 3. No? So f of x plus p. So wherever I see a x, I put the x plus p. So x plus p minus 2 plus 3. Okay. In the B part of the question, it says, what effect would a negative value of p have on the graph? So if p is negative, then what's going to happen to this graph? It's going to move p units to the right. Okay, the graph will shift p units to the right. Remember that has an additive inverse effect. So it's minus, it moves to the right. If it's plus, it moves to the left. Okay. And clearly they say it's a negative value of p. So it will move to the right, whatever units p is. Okay. Whichever value p would be. Okay. Question 4. In question 4, we are told alongside is a sketch of the graph f and g. Okay. Right. F and G cutting at B and D. Alongside is a sketch of the graph F and G cutting at B and D. Okay. The parabola cuts the x-axis at B and D. No. The x-axis at B and C, which is 0, and C, which is negative 12 and 0. And the y-axis at A, which is 0 and negative 24. The equation of G is y is equal to 2x. Y is equal to x plus 2. Okay. The question says calculate the coordinates of B. Calculate the coordinates of B. So B is your x-intercept of your parabola and is the x-intercept of your straight line. We don't have the equation of the parabola, so you must work with the straight line. Okay. So the equation of the x-intercept, how do you calculate x-intercept? We let y equal to 0. Okay, so we can only work with the g of x graph. So 0 is equal to x plus 2, which implies that x is equal to minus 2. Have I answered the question? No. They want the coordinates of B, which is negative 2 and 0. Okay. I'm going to take this off so that I can keep the diagram in focus. And move this over. And there as well. Okay. So let's look at the next question. This question says, prove that the equation of f is defined by that day. Prove that the equation is defined by that formula here. Okay. So what do we have here? If you look at this graph, we actually have two x-intercepts. Not so. So what do we have to do? We say it's in the form of y is equal to a into x minus alpha, x minus beta, or what most of you would say, y is equal to a into x minus x1 times x minus x2, the same. Where alpha and beta are x-intercepts. So if I do the substitution of your x-intercept, y is equal to a into x minus minus 12, x minus minus 2. We can change this to plus. In pursuit of calculating a, I need to substitute the pointed line on this graph, other than the points that was used. So at this point I'm going to substitute a, which is 0 and negative 24. Again, that's the x and the y. So negative 24 equals a into 0 plus 12, 0 plus 2. So it's going to give you 24a. So a is going to give you negative 1. Have I answered the question? No. So we sub that back. So y is equal to negative 1 into x plus 12, x plus 2. We multiply that story out. I get x squared minus 14x minus 24, which makes that absolutely correct. Okay. I'm going to keep that what's the name on the board there, that question, so that we can have the equation of the parabola there. The next question says calculate the coordinates of D. Calculate the coordinate of D. So I'm going to pull it here. As you can see, we don't have much space here. Calculate the coordinates of D. So how do we calculate the coordinate of D? What is D? D is your one of the points of intersection. Not so. How do you work out points of intersection? How do you work out the points of intersection? we set the g of x graph equal to the f of x squared, with the parabola equal to the straight line. So it's negative x squared minus 14x minus 24 equals, what's the equation of this parabola? X plus 2, no? Of the straight line. That was it x plus 2. Right, so 0 is equal to, I'm calculating, solving for x here, x squared minus plus 15x plus 26. So x works out to be one of two values. It's going to be 2 and 13, I think. And then negative on both. Not so. Why do we have two values? Because there is 2 points of intersection. That is where this negative 2 comes. Okay? But the one that we are interested in for D is 13. So what we do is we substitute 13 either into the parabola or into the straight line. I'm going with the straight line because that's more easier. So that's negative 11. So therefore D is negative 13 and negative 11. Okay. This takes care of that question. Let's pull this up here. In B, in question B, we are asked, determine the length of EF if E is the turning point on F and F is a point on G. So to calculate EF, so EF, if you're looking from on top, it's going to be your parabola graph minus your straight line graph. Okay. So it's going to be your parabola graph minus the straight line graph. The equation of the parabola is negative x squared minus 14x minus 24 minus your straight line graph, which is x plus 2. So the algebraic expression for EF is x squared minus 15x minus 26. That is your algebraic expression for EF. So how do I get the value of EF? By substituting your x value in at this point, which is actually your axis of symmetry, which is minus b over 2a, so it's negative minus 40 over 2a, which is negative 1. So it's going to give us 7 in the negative. Okay, so we're substituting x is equal to 7 into EF. So EF is equal to negative 7 squared minus 15 times negative 7 minus 26. Put negative 7 in the calculator. So it's going to be negative 7 squared minus 15 times negative 7 minus 26. Minus 26. This is an answer of 30 units. Okay, so we have simply 30 units there. Okay. Four point two. For which value of values of x is f of x times g of x greater than 0? Where is f of x times g of x? F of x times g of x greater than 0. So greater than 0 means what? That it is positive. Under what condition when we multiply two numbers is it going to be positive? Positive times a positive or negative times a negative? Not so. So, when is a graph positive? If it's above the line, and when it's a graph negative, it's below the line. So in other words, both graphs must be under or both graphs must be above. As you can see here, both is under, not so up until this point. From there, one is under, one is on top, one is below. So in other words, x must be less than negative 12. Or they're not talking about equal, so I'm not going to do this. Okay. They're not including that. Then we are told, so this is one positive, one is negative. Can you see that, people? One's above, one is below. Here, On the other side of B, one is above, one is below. Can you see that? So in other words, x has to be less than negative 2. Okay. X is less than negative 2. So let's take this off here. The next question says, uh, 4.2.5. Write down the new equation of f of x if f is shifted 2 units down. If f is shifted 2 units down. So if that is shifted 2 units down, then your f of x, what is the f of parabola? So if it shifts 2 units down, then I was minus 2 on the x, not so. And then it shifts 3 units to the left. So it moves 3 units to the left. So I must add 3 on the x, not so. So in other words, f of x is simply, not f of x, sorry. This becomes y, because f of x in this question is defined already as negative x squared minus 14x minus 2. So it becomes negative open brackets x plus 3. No, 3 units to the left. Yeah, so I must add 3 on the x. Squared minus 4 x plus 3. So whenever I see an x, I put the x plus 3. Okay? Minus 24 minus 2, which is simply minus 26. Or if you see 24 minus 2, you'll get the full mark anyway. Why? Because as I say, we do not need to simplify the sum. There was no mark allocated for the simplification thereof. Okay. The next question. Cut. Question 5. In question 5, we are given h of x equal to 3 to the x. Determine the equation of the inverse function in that form. So what do we do for the inverse function? We interchange x and y, not so. So x equal to 3 to the y. To make it in the form of y equals, I must change this to log form. So it's going to be log x base 3. The next question says, draw the graph of the inverse showing the equation of the asymptotes in the intercept as well as the coordinates of one other point. So when we draw the exponential graph normally, it's easier to just reflect it from there. So it's minus 1, 0, 1. So it will be a third, 1 and 3. So if I look at the inverse function, which is the log graph, so it's minus 1, 0 and 1, a third, 1 and 3. Okay, so x, that is 1, 2, 3, that's 0. X is a third, is minus 1. So, 1 and 0, and 3 and 1. One of these 2 points must be on the graph, okay? Either 1 and 3, a third and negative 1, and 3 and 1. Okay. The equation of this asymptote is x is equal to 0 if needed, okay? Okay, I don't know why I said you need the equation of the asymptote. Normally, if it's on your y-axis, we don't normally ask that. Alright, I also didn't penalize you if you didn't put that down, okay? In question 5.3 it says write down the domain of this. So what effect does the positive 3 have on this graph? The graph is going to move 3 units to the left. Which means to say the asymptote also moves 3 units to the left. Okay. But if you look at the h of x function, what is the domain of this h of x? What's the domain of the inverse function here? X is greater than 0. Not so? So if the graph moves 3 units to the left, the asymptote, which is x equal to 0, also moves 3 units to the left. So what does that mean? x must be greater than negative 3. Okay. It's fairly simple there. 5.4 was a nice question. And again, all these questions was nice. He says the graph of h of x equals equal to 3 to x is reflected about the y-axis. So it's reflected about the y-axis. What happens if something is reflected about the y-axis? X becomes negative. So it's 3 to the minus x. That is not taking that into account. Then translated up. So it moves up. Okay, translated means glided or whatever. It moves up. So if it moves up or down, it's going to do that. Not so, we'll have a p value. A vertical shift will be represented with a p value. Okay, so if it moves up by 1 unit, I would have said +1. If it moves down by 6 units, I would have said -6. Okay, so it moves, and then translated up. Yeah, I spelled it wrong. Up so that the reflected graph passes through the point 2. So in other words, we will substitute 2 and 4 in one word. Determine the equation of the final graph. So remember again, this is x and a y. So that is going to be 4 and a ninth equals 3 to the negative 2 plus p. They get over the equal sign, so p is equal to. So that is going to be 4. Sorry, 4 and 1/9 minus 3 to the negative 3. Negative 2, sorry. So it gives you 4. So p is 4. So therefore, y is equal to 3 to the minus x plus. Okay. What do we have left? We have question 6 left. Your calculus graph, and the bonus question. Okay, so tomorrow's lesson, we're going to go through this paper 1. Probably we'll start with paper 2 as well. Okay. You will enjoy the rest of your day. Good afternoon, class. Please collect the files again.